Eat to Live, the amazing nutrient-rich program for fast and sustained weight loss, by Joel Fuhrman, MD. Introduction. At 60 years old, Julia felt like a cardiac cripple. Her life was a terrifying cycle of hospital visits and near-death experiences. She'd had 3 heart attacks in just 3 months. Doctors had performed 5 angioplasties over 3 years, trying to prop open her failing arteries. After the last procedure, she nearly died from internal bleeding. The constant pain, the 10 different medications, the unstable angina that made it impossible to walk even a single block, it was all too much. She weighed 225 pounds, and the medical torture made her feel like it would have been better if she had just died on the operating table. She felt trapped. Hopeless. This wasn't living. It was just waiting for the end. But then, she found a book. A book by a doctor named Joel Fuhrman. It felt like her last chance. She was skeptical, of course. She'd tried things before. But she was also desperate. So she decided to commit fully. Within 3 months of following the plan in that book, her chest pain was gone. She went from being unable to walk a block to walking 2 miles without any problems. Within 7 months, she had lost 90 pounds. Today, Julia weighs 120 pounds. She walks 3 miles every day, she goes to yoga, and she's off all her medications. She says she's having a love affair with her new life. A life she knows she would not be living if it weren't for this one powerful idea. What Julia discovered is something that flies in the face of almost everything we're taught about dieting and health. It's a simple, profound truth that has the power to not just help you lose weight, but to potentially reverse the very diseases we've been told are incurable. By the end of our time together today, you will understand the single most important equation for your health. It's a formula so simple, yet so powerful, that drive. Fuhrman compares it to Einstein's $E equals mc squared dollar for the world of nutrition. It's the secret to why every diet you've ever tried has failed, and it's the key to unlocking a level of health and vitality you may have thought was no longer possible. This isn't just about losing 20 pounds. This is about eating to live. Book summary. Let's start with a hard truth. For all our wealth and modern medicine, we in the Western world are one of the sickest populations on the planet. The majority of our adults are overweight, and nearly a third of our young children are obese. We spend over $40 billion a year on weight loss programs, yet 95% of people who lose weight gain it all back, and often more, within 3 years. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? We're living in a world of unprecedented food abundance, yet we are, as drive. Fuhrman puts it, completely and utterly malnourished. This leads us to the first big misunderstanding that keeps us trapped. We think that being overweight is about how much we eat. We believe the problem is volume. So, what do? We try to eat less. We measure portions, count calories, and starve ourselves on tiny, unsatisfying meals. And we are miserable. We feel hungry all the time, we develop intense cravings, and eventually, our willpower breaks. And we blame ourselves. We think we failed. But drive. Fuhrman tells us something revolutionary. He says for the vast majority of people, being overweight is not caused by how much you eat, but by what you eat. Imagine 2 meals, both 400 calories. One meal is a few bites of a cheeseburger. The other is a massive, overflowing bowl of spinach, eggplant, and beans. Which one do you think will actually fill your stomach and signal to your brain that you're satisfied? The cheeseburger is gone in seconds, and your stomach barely notices. The bowl of vegetables is so large you might struggle to finish it. This is the difference between foods that are calorically dense and foods that are nutrient dense. And this brings us to the very heart of Eat to Live. It's a simple, elegant formula that, once you understand it, will change the way you look at food forever. The formula is this: $H equals N, Canadian dollar. Health equals nutrients divided by calories. That's it. That's the entire philosophy in one equation. Your long-term health isn't determined by counting fat grams or carbs or even calories. It is predicted by the nutrient density of your diet. Let's break that down. Calories are the energy in your food, and they only come from three places: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Nutrients, on the other hand, are the non-caloric good stuff, the vitamins, minerals, fibers, and something truly amazing called phytochemicals. So, every food you eat can be graded on this scale. Does it give you a lot of nutrients for the calories it contains? Or does it give you a lot of calories with very few nutrients? The secret to permanent weight loss and incredible health is to eat, and I mean eat large portions of, foods that are high on the nutrient side and low on the calorie side. When you do this, something magical happens. You eat more food than you were before, but you lose weight. Why? Because your body is finally getting what it's been starving for: nutrients. And this is where we need to talk about one of nature's most incredible gifts: phytochemicals. The word just means plant chemicals. For centuries, we knew fruits and vegetables were good for us, but we didn't really know why. Now, scientists are discovering that these plants are packed with thousands upon thousands of these microscopic compounds. A single tomato can contain more than 10,000 different phytochemicals. These aren't vitamins or minerals. They are nature's own defense army. They are substances that sweep toxins out of our cells, that repair our DNA, that fight cancerous changes, and that protect our blood vessels from damage. They are, as Fuhrman calls them, nature's magic pills. And here's the catch: you can't get them from a bottle. You can't distill this complex symphony of nutrients into a supplement. You can only get them from eating a wide variety of whole, natural plant foods. This is why just taking a vitamin pill doesn't work. For years, scientists saw that people who ate a lot of carrots had low rates of cancer. They thought, aha, it must be the beta-carotene, so they extracted it, put it in a pill, and gave it to people. But the studies were a disaster. In some cases, taking beta-carotene supplements actually increased the risk of lung cancer. They had mistaken the flag for the ship. The beta-carotene wasn't the magic bullet. It was just a marker. It signaled that these people were eating a diet rich in hundreds of other powerful carotenoids and phytochemicals that all work together. Taking one nutrient in isolation can even throw the whole system out of balance. So, if our goal is to maximize the N in our health equation, we need to fill our plates with these phytochemical-rich foods. But to do that, we first have to understand the villains. The foods that are all C calories and very little in nutrients. The first villain is refined carbohydrates. Think white bread, white rice, pasta, bagels, and crackers. Drive. Walter Willett, the chairman of nutrition at Harvard, says these foods should be moved up to the sweets category of the food pyramid, because metabolically, our bodies see them as basically the same thing as sugar. When you eat a piece of whole wheat, your body has to work to break down the fiber and nutrients. The energy is released slowly. But when you eat white bread, where all the fiber and nutrients have been stripped away, it's like a sugar bomb hitting your bloodstream. Your pancreas goes into overdrive, pumping out insulin to get the sugar out of your blood. And what does insulin do? It's a fat storage hormone. It tells your body to pack that energy away as fat. The second villain is one that might surprise you: oils. Yes, even the celebrated olive oil. Drive. Fuhrman is clear on this: oils are not health foods. They are 100% fat, making them one of the most calorically dense foods on the planet. A single tablespoon of olive oil has 120 calories and virtually no nutrients. He uses a powerful illustration. When you eat fat, your body stores it with incredible efficiency. It takes the fat from the food and, almost unchanged, deposits it on your hips and your waist. He says scientists can literally take a biopsy of your body fat and tell you if it came from a pig, a cow, or an olive. It really does go from your lips right to your hips. This doesn't mean all fat is bad. We need fat. But we should get it from whole foods like avocados, nuts, and seeds, where the fat is packaged with fiber, vitamins, minerals, and those amazing phytochemicals that protect it and us. The final and most controversial villain is the overconsumption of animal products. For this, drive. Fuhrman points to one of the most comprehensive studies on diet ever conducted, the China Project. For years, researchers studied 65 different counties in rural China, a place that was like a living laboratory because different regions had vastly different diets, from almost entirely plant-based to diets that included some animal foods. The findings were stunning. The researchers found a direct, linear relationship. As the amount of animal food in the diet went up, so did the rates of Western diseases like heart disease and cancer. Even small increases had a noticeable effect. The regions that ate the least animal protein were virtually free of these diseases. Now, this brings up the great protein myth. We've all seen the charts in school, the ones that tell us we need meat and dairy for strong muscles and bones. But drive. Fuhrman asks a simple question: how do the biggest, strongest animals on Earth, elephants, gorillas, rhinoceroses, get so massive? They eat green vegetation. The cow you eat didn't eat another cow to get its protein. It ate grass. All protein on this planet ultimately originates from plants. When you compare them calorie for calorie, broccoli has almost twice as much protein as steak. But unlike steak, it's also packed with calcium, iron, vitamin C, fiber, and thousands of cancer-fighting phytochemicals. And what about calcium? We're told we need milk for strong bones. Yet, the data shows that the countries with the highest dairy consumption, like the United States, also have the highest rates of osteoporosis and hip fractures. How can this be? Drive. Fuhrman explains that it's about calcium balance. Animal protein creates a high acid load in our blood. To neutralize this acid, the body does something drastic: it leaches calcium from our bones. So even though you're taking in a lot of calcium from dairy, you're losing a huge amount of it in your urine. You end up in a negative calcium balance. Green vegetables, on the other hand, are alkaline and rich in usable calcium, which your body can actually absorb and retain. So if these foods are the villains, who are the heroes? If you were to rank all foods based on the $H=N/Canadian dollar formula, the undisputed champions, scoring a perfect 100 out of 100, are dark leafy green vegetables. Kale, collards, spinach, romaine lettuce. These are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Drive. Fuhrman says the single food most strongly associated with a long life in human studies is raw, leafy greens. This is why he tells his patients to put a sign on their refrigerator that says, "The salad is the main dish." We're not talking about a little side salad. We're talking about a massive bowl, aiming for 1 pound of raw vegetables every day. Following close behind the greens are other vegetables, fresh fruits, and beans. Beans, in particular, are a dieter's best friend. They are packed with fiber and something called resistant starch, which acts like fiber and isn't fully absorbed, helping to stabilize your blood sugar and keep you feeling full for hours. Now, this all sounds great in theory. But we all know the real challenge. It's that feeling. That gnawing in your stomach, the headache, the irritability when you haven't eaten in a few hours. That feeling we call hunger. But what if I told you that feeling isn't hunger? Drive. Fuhrman makes a critical distinction between what he calls toxic hunger and true hunger. When you live on a diet of processed foods, caffeine, and other low-nutrient substances, your body becomes addicted. Just like any addiction, when you stop taking the substance, in this case, when your digestive system is empty, you start to experience withdrawal. You get headaches, fatigue, stomach cramps, and mental fogginess. This is toxic hunger. And what's the quickest way to make those uncomfortable feelings go away? Eat more of the same junk food that caused the problem in the first place. It's a vicious cycle that makes overeating almost inevitable. True hunger, on the other hand, is a completely different sensation. It's not felt in your head or your stomach. It's a gentle, pleasant sensation in your throat and mouth. It's your body's calm, clear signal that it's ready for more fuel. When you eat in response to true hunger, food tastes unbelievably delicious, and you naturally stop when you've had enough. The goal of the Eat to Live plan, especially in the first 6 weeks, is to break the addiction to toxic hunger. You might feel worse before you feel better. For a few days, you may experience those withdrawal symptoms. But on the other side of that is freedom. Freedom from cravings, freedom from food addiction, and the ability to finally listen to your body's real needs. The plan is simple. For 6 weeks, you go all in. Unlimited raw vegetables. Unlimited cooked green and non-starchy vegetables. At least 4 fruits a day, and at least a cup of beans. You limit starchy vegetables and whole grains to just 1 serving a day, and you have a small amount of raw nuts or seeds. You eliminate all animal products, dairy, oils, and snacks between meals. It sounds radical. But the results are what motivate people to stick with it. It's not uncommon to lose 15 or 20 pounds in that first month. But more importantly, people start to feel alive again. Take Ronnie, for example. He was over 300 pounds and had already had quadruple bypass surgery. But he went right back to smoking, drinking, and eating fried foods. He ended up back in the hospital for more procedures, and the chest pains returned. He was in a downward spiral. Then he found this book. In 1 year, he lost 140 pounds. His chest pains stopped completely, and he got off all his medications. Or Scott, who weighed 501 pounds. He was unable to walk more than a few feet, and his wife had to help him shower and dress. He was considering bariatric surgery but felt it was handing his problem to someone else. He found Eat to Live and decided he had to solve it himself. In just over 3 years, he lost 333 pounds. He got his life back. These stories aren't just about weight loss. They are about disease reversal. Drive. Fuhrman sees it every day in his practice. Over 90% of his type 2 diabetic patients get off insulin within the first month. Patients with high blood pressure normalize their readings and get off their medication. People suffering for years from chronic headaches, fatigue, and autoimmune diseases find relief for the first time in their lives. Because when you give the body the right fuel, when you flood it with the nutrients it has been craving, its miraculous self-healing ability is unleashed. After the initial 6 weeks, you move to the life plan, which is built on the 90% rule. You aim to get at least 90% of your calories from unrefined, nutrient-dense plant foods. The other 10% allows for imperfection, a small piece of fish, a slice of bread, a special occasion meal. It treats those low-nutrient foods as condiments, not the main event. This isn't a temporary diet. It's a re-education. It's about understanding that food isn't just fuel, it's information. It's the instructions you give your body every single day on how to build, repair, and protect itself. Commentary. When you step back and look at the world of nutrition, it feels incredibly complicated, doesn't it? One day fat is the enemy, The next it's carbohydrates. High protein, low protein, keto, paleo. It's a storm of conflicting advice that leaves most of us feeling confused and powerless. The true genius of Eat to Live is that it cuts through all that noise with one beautifully simple principle. $H equals N/Canadian dollar. Health equals nutrients divided by calories. It's not a gimmick. It's a fundamental law of our biology. It reframes the entire conversation. The goal is no longer about restriction or deprivation. It's about abundance. It asks you to flood your body with the most nutritious, life-giving foods on the planet. What drive Fuhrman is really offering us is a paradigm shift. He's asking us to stop seeing food as a source of pleasure that we must guiltily control, and start seeing it as the most powerful medicine we have at our disposal. He teaches us that our bodies are not broken. Our taste buds are not broken. They have just been hijacked by a modern food environment that is designed to be addictive. The idea of toxic hunger versus true hunger is, for me, one of the most profound insights in the book. It gives us a language for that feeling we all know, that desperate, uncomfortable craving that drives us to eat when we're not really hungry. And it gives us hope. It tells us we can break free from that cycle. We can retrain our bodies and our taste buds to desire the very foods that heal us. This isn't an easy path. It requires a commitment, especially in those first few weeks. It asks you to swim against the current of our entire food culture. But the promise isn't just a number on a scale. The promise is a different kind of life, a life with more energy, more clarity, less pain, and a profound sense of control over your own health. So, how can you start to put this powerful idea into practice, right now, without feeling overwhelmed? Here are a few simple actions you can take today. First, try the salad as the main dish challenge for just 1 week. Don't change anything else about your diet, but commit to eating one huge, nutrient-packed salad every single day. Make it the first thing you eat at lunch or dinner. Fill it with romaine, spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers, and maybe a cup of beans on top. See how it changes your appetite for the rest of the meal? Second, make one simple swap: your dessert. Instead of reaching for a cookie or ice cream, end your meal with fruit. A big bowl of berries, a few slices of melon, or a perfectly ripe peach. Let your body rediscover the simple, clean pleasure of nature's candy. You'll be satisfying your sweet tooth while flooding your body with nutrients. And third, try the condiment mindset for a few days. If you eat meat or cheese, instead of making it the center of your plate, treat it like a garnish. Use a small amount to add flavor to a large vegetable stir-fry or a bean chili. This small mental shift can dramatically change the nutrient-to-calorie ratio of your meals without making you feel like you're giving up your favorite foods entirely. That was a summary of Eat to Live by Drive. Joel Fuhrman. We've touched on the major themes today, but I want to be honest with you. A summary can give you the map, but it can't take you on the journey. The real transformation happens when you immerse yourself in the book. It's in the detailed science, the inspiring patient stories, and the quiet moments where a simple sentence makes you see your lifelong habits in a completely new light. This overview is here to help you decide if this book is a journey you want to take. If anything we've discussed has sparked a sense of hope or curiosity in you, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning information. It's an experience that can fundamentally change your relationship with food and your own body. Also, if you've found this journey valuable, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.